Sam, you've read Sparks of Bright Matter by Leanne O'Donnell. Tell us all about it.
It's fabulous. It's historical fiction set in the 1760s. Starts off in West Cork with a chap called Peter Wolfe, who, in fact, when I got to the end of the book, discovered was a real person. So what Leanne's done is taken a real life character, historical character, who was a famous sort of chemist and alchemist at the time, and taken parts of his life and woven into this incredible story. So we start off in West Cork. He goes quite quickly to London, and in fact, actually, the first chapter is him in London, and he's running an experiment. And Mal Burkiss is his assistant, and Mal's job is to keep an eye on the fire and make sure the fire just keeps going for days and days and days while this experiment's being sort of mulled over, and the fire goes out. And so there's I don't want to give you any spoilers, but Peter gets quite cross with Mal, and then we go into sort of the thriller part of it, I suppose. It's a fantastic sort of portrayal of London in the 1760s. I mean, you really feel like you're there. The narrow alleys and the sort of the darkness and the poverty and all those types of things are in there. And so from that perspective, her research has been amazing. It was a wonderful story. It's very mystical. Back in Ireland, we've got a character called Bridie, who is sort of a woman who lives in a cottage up on the hill on the family estate, Peter Wolfe's family estate. And we learn more as the story unfolds about who she is, and she becomes quite a mystic figure. And then back in London, we're meeting people who are sort of tangentially related to her. There's somebody who is her niece, we discover later on the book. It's wonderful. Just story sort of unfolds. It's really about this book that is bound by a guy that Peter Wolfe is working with.
So it's a book about a book.
It is, and it's an exciting book. It's a very, very special book. It's a book that was written in real book. It was written in 1677, and it's a book sort of about alchemy and how different chemicals can be put together to produce different things. But also, there's a sort of a story running through it, and we get to see the pages of the book through Peter's eyes. But there's a lot of people who want this book. Peter is supposed to deliver it to Baron Swedenborg, who is very keen to see the book, and there's a hiccup along the way, let's just say. Peter gets a bit distracted, and the book goes off on its own little journey. And that means then they suddenly discover the book is missing, and there's a whole load of people who really, really want it. And this sort of hots up as the book continues. It's fabulous. I really enjoyed that sense of London and the streets and how people were living, and she got the domestic side of it, sort of the social history really, really right. I felt it was great.
I mean, that's what I think both our books have in common today, that if they get it right, Shanghai and London, you want to taste it, you want to smell it, and the writing, you want to feel like you're there. And does it do, you're saying it does do that?
It does, absolutely. I've literally just read a book called The Maiden by Kate Foster, which is set in exactly the same period, but in Edinburgh. And so it was really interesting to literally step back into that world and see all the details. Leanne, who wrote it, is a writer. She's written for the BBC and RT and all sorts of things, but I don't know that she's got the same historical background as Kate Foster, who is a historian, but the history was all perfect. It was great. It was really, and I think that's part of what drives the story. It's part of what drives the plot. That she has moved Peter in real life. In real life, Peter came from Clare, but she's moved him to West Cork, so we get the mysticism of the mountains and the sort of the history and the mythology around the area, which is gorgeous as well. So the contrast between West Cork and London in the 1700s, it's really, really impressive.
I'm one on that, are you?
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. Yeah, you've really sold it.
Yeah, lovely. And lovely names too. I don't know where she got them. I feel like she's gone back to the census. I don't even know if there was a census in 1760. But the names, there's a character called Danby Scott and Suki, and the Irish names, you're more what you would expect, but the other names, they're amazing. It really feels like a real place, a real time.
Oh, I look forward to come back there, even if it is a bit dark.